Okay. Okay, this is recording, guys, so shh. Okay, well, look. Last time, again, I'm going to put last time's notes up here just as a quick reminder. Last time we were factoring. Okay, and factoring means to write it as a what again? Write it as a product. And so last time, I took a binomial. Remember, binomial has two terms, and we factored into that by pulling out the common factors. Do you remember that from last time? So last time, we factored a two-term polynomial, which is a binomial, by pulling out the common factors. And notice, it went from a sum to the product, x times x plus 3. So once you write it as a product, it is considered to be factored. Is that clear? Well, today, we're going to be doing more factoring, but instead of binomials, we're going to factor what? Trinomials. Okay, so first of all, quick reminder. Shout it out, everybody. What does it mean to factor a polynomial? Write it as a what? Yeah, no. Write it as a product. What's a product? A what? What's a product? A multiplication. Okay, so that's what it means, to take what they give you, which is a trinomial, and turn it into a product. That's called factoring. So the question is, how do we do this? Well, in order to factor a trinomial, you need to think backwards from the FOIL method. Okay, so factoring a trinomial just means that you're going to think backwards about all the steps you did when you FOILed. So, let's just quickly FOIL that binomial times that binomial. I don't know why it's doing that. Let me turn it down a little bit. Shh. What did I say about comments? Shh. Stop. Okay, so quick review of FOILing, and then I think you'll understand what I'm doing, hopefully, from there. So when you FOIL a binomial times a binomial, you multiply the first terms, and that gives you what? X squared. Then you multiply the outside terms, and gives you that. You multiply the inside terms, gives you that. And then you multiply the last terms, which gives you that.
It's a little choppy.
Okay?
Really delayed.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why it's doing that. I don't.
Blame the lag.
Anyway. All right, so you guys, when you add these two together, what do you get in the middle? These two add up to what? Plus 7x. Okay. So now let's go backwards. And by the way, we went from this form to this form. We FOILed, didn't we? Okay, and then the question is, how do I start out with a trinomial and turn it into that? Well, that's called factoring. And that's what we're going to be learning all hour. Are you ready? And it's not easy. It takes a lot of work and a lot of practice. Are you ready? Okay, so how do I turn a trinomial like that back into a product of binomials like that? Well, think backwards. So thinking backwards, when we FOILed, let me ask you, where did the x squared come from? Where did the x squared come from? Yeah, so the x squared came from what was there and what was there, yes? Okay, so that's what we're going to do first. Just from our experience, if I see an x squared there, I'm going to put an x there and an x there. Again, I'm trying to create the binomial times the binomial. Is that clear? Okay? Then the next thing you go to, so that's the first thing you look at. The second thing you look at is that. Where could a plus 10 come from? Well, where did the plus 10 come from in this case? It came from the what? Yeah, it came from the, again, let me write that down. This came from the plus 2 times the plus 5, didn't it? In those two spots right there? Yeah, I don't know why there's such a delay. I don't know what the problem is. Okay, but anyway. All right, and then the third thing I want to know is, where in the world did this come from? That's the third thing you worry about. Where did that come from? Where did the plus 7x come from? Well, that came from multiplying the what? The inners, and then the outers, and then adding them together, yes? And that's how you got the plus 7x in the middle? Everybody agree with that?
Wouldn't that be 7x squared?
No. 2x plus 5x is just 7x. You're adding them. First you multiply these two and write down the plus 2x. Then you multiply these two, write down the plus 5x. And then you add them together to get the middle term. I got it, guys? You understand that? That's basically where everything came from if you're starting to think backwards. Yes? All right, now. So the bottom line is, if we FOIL those binomials, we get that trinomial. And going the other way, if we factor that trinomial, it turns into a product of those binomials. Do you understand? It's the same thing, just going backwards. Yes? All right, so let's do some examples now. Ready? This is not easy. Good news is you don't have to write anything down. Just pay attention and stop me if you have any questions. Ready, Mike?
Yeah.
You watching?
Always watching.
All right, so look. Here is the problem right here. It says to factor that trinomial. And so, the question is, anytime we factor a trinomial like that, it's the first thing you're going to write down is this, right? You're going to write down the parentheses for your two binomials. You understand it? That's the first thing you're going to do when I ask you to factor a trinomial. Yes? Is that clear? You're going to write the brackets for that binomial and the brackets for that binomial. Okay. The next thing you're going to do is ask yourself, where does that come from? And you're going to say what? So you start there. Where does that come from? An x there and an x there in your binomials. Everybody with me? Okay, the next thing you're going to do is look at that. Where does a plus 8 come from? Well, there's all kinds of possibilities of what I could put here and what I could put here that would produce a plus 8 when I FOIL. Wouldn't a plus 1 and a plus 8 work? What's a plus 1 times a plus 8? Plus 8. And if I switch them, would it still give me the same thing? Yes. What about a minus 1 and a minus 8? What's a minus 1 times a minus 8? Plus 8. So that would work. Or I could switch them, right? How about a plus 2 times a plus 4? Would that work? Yes. Or I could switch them. How about a minus 2 and a minus 4? Wouldn't that produce a plus 8 when you multiply them? Or I could switch them. So what I'm saying is this, guys. I want you to do the following now. I want you to take that and try all of these combinations here and here until you find the one that produces the middle term of what? Minus 6x. Is that clear? That's what your job is, to FOIL. Think about all the possibilities that give you the plus 8, and then think about which one of them, when you finish the FOIL process, gives you a middle term of a minus 6x. Are you ready? We're going to try them one at a time. All right, so the first one I tried was what? The plus 1 and the what? Plus 8. And watch what happens. When I multiply the inside terms, I get that. When I multiply the outside terms, I get that. And when I add them together, you get what? Plus 9x. Is plus 9x what I want for my middle term? No. I'm looking for a what again? What am I looking for my middle term?
Negative 6x.
Yes, I'm looking for a minus 6x for my middle term. Is that clear? Yes? Okay. So, does that work then? No, this one produces a middle term of a what?
9x.
Plus 9x, so that's not it. By the way, what if I switched them? What if I put the plus 8 first and the plus 1 there? Wouldn't it give me the same middle term? Wouldn't it? Okay, so that doesn't work either. And so I can cross that one out and I can cross that one out. Okay? Does it always delay like that?
No, I think it's because you're recording.
Yeah.
I don't know, my calc students never said anything, and I record that every day. But anyway, I seriously, I don't know what the problem is. All right, does everybody see what I'm going to try next? I'm going to try the minus 1 and the minus 8. Okay, so if I put in the minus 1 and the minus 8 and then do the inners and the outers, what do I get for the middle term? Well, if I multiply the inners here, I get that. If I multiply the outer ones, I get that. And if I add them together, I get a middle term of a what? A minus 9x. Is that what I want? No. What do I want for the middle term again? Yeah, I'm looking for a minus 6x in the middle, right? So everybody agree that that doesn't work? Would I get the same thing if I switch the 8 and the 1? Yes, and so that doesn't work. Cross those out. Now I got to try the what? The plus 2 and the what?
4.
Plus 4. And so that's what I did. I put in the plus 2 and the plus 4. Okay, when I finish the FOIL method now, when I multiply the inside ones, I get that. When I multiply the outside ones, I get that. And when you add them together, you get a middle term of a plus 6x. Is that what I want for my middle term? No. So that's not it. By the way, if I switch the 4 and the 2, am I going to get that same middle term? Yes, I am. So that's not it. All right. So cross those out. What haven't I tried yet? What haven't I tried yet? The minus 2 and the what? Minus 4. Let's put those in. And so if I multiply the inside terms, I get that. If I multiply the outside terms, I get that. And when I add them together, I get a middle term of what? Minus 6x. Bingo. That's what I want, isn't it? You with me? Yes? Okay, got to stay with me. Is this okay? Okay, Zach, is this okay? All right, so, by the way, if I switched them, would I get the same answer? Yes, but anyway. All right, so that's it, guys. That's my answer. So, when I factor the given trinomial, it factors into the product x minus 2 times x minus 4. By the way, if you had it the other way around, as long as you have an x minus 2 and an x minus 4, it still works. Yes? Everybody agree? So either one of those is fine. Everybody agree those are the same thing? Yes? All right. So that's how you factor. Now I'm going to give you a couple more little hints and tricks. So we're definitely not done yet. Okay, we're going to do more examples with more hints and tricks along the way. Because I don't think you want to use a whole piece of paper every time you do one homework problem, do you? No. So let me start to shorten the process a little bit. I mean, this is basically what you need to do. But what I'm saying is it doesn't all need to be down on paper like this. You can do a lot of it in your head once you get good at this. Is that clear? All right, so let's go to the next example. All right, so this is a trinomial I want to factor. So instead of having an x squared, this time the first term is what? 5x squared. So you start there, right? Where's a 5x squared going to come from in your binomials? It's got to be a what? A 5x and a what? X. Now, it doesn't matter which one goes where, as long as you have a 5x and an x. Is that clear? Everybody understand? Yes, Steve? Is this making sense? Okay. So then the next thing you go to is this. Where's a plus 6 going to come from? Well, it comes from whatever's here and here, yes? Multiplied? Yes? And so could it be a positive 1 times a positive 6? Or I could switch them, right? What else? A minus 1 and a minus 6. Don't those multiply to a plus 6? What else? You can switch them. What else is a possibility? Plus 2 and a what? Plus 3. That would give you a plus 6 when you FOIL, wouldn't it, at the end? Or you could switch them. Or what else? A minus 2 and a minus 3. Wouldn't that also give you a plus 6 when you FOIL at the end? Or you could switch them. So there's lots of possibilities here. All right, now quick question. Zach, could you read this for me? Real loud.
Which options above can we throw out based on the fact that the middle term must result in a plus sign?
Okay. All right, so again, so it's going to be one of these combinations if it works, right? Now, when you multiply the inners and the outers and add them together, you got to end up with a what? Plus what? 17. So what's the only way that's going to happen? Is if they're both what? Positive. So can I throw all the ones out that have 2 negatives and say it's got to be one of the ones with pluses? You understand that? Because if you had 2 negatives, wouldn't the middle term always be negative when you FOIL?
Yeah.
Yes, when you add them together? Okay? Think about that. Okay? All right, so now we're down to 4 options, yes? Okay, so here we go. We're going to try that, along with that, and that, and see which one produces a middle term of what? Plus 17. Right? Everybody agree we're shooting for a middle term of plus 17 when we do this? Okay, so here it goes. Okay, so I'm going to finish the outside and the inside steps to see which choice results in the correct middle term of a plus 17x. Are you ready? All right, so what's the first one I'm going to try? The plus 1 and the what? Plus 6. All right, so if I put in the plus 1 and plus 6 and I do the inners and the outers, what do I get? Well, when I multiply the inside ones, I get that. When I multiply the outside ones, I get that. And when I add them together, I get what? A middle term of a what? Plus 31. So if I FOILed, I get a middle term of a plus 31x here. Is that what I want? No. Okay, now wait. You got to switch them. On the first example, when we switched them, we got the same thing. But this time we're going to get something different because you got a 5 and an x. When you switch the 1 and the 6, you're going to get a different middle term. Is everybody with me on that? So watch what happens when I switch them. So I'm going to put the plus 6 first and then the plus 1. When I multiply the inside ones, I get that. Multiply the outside ones, I get that. And when you add them together, you get a middle term of what? Plus 11x. Is that what I want for my middle term? Is it?
No.
No. Cross it out. All right. Now I'm going to try the what? Plus 2 and the what? Plus 3. Okay, so if I put them in and I multiply the inside terms, I get that. If I multiply the outside terms, I get that. And when I add them together, I get a what for the middle term? Plus 17x. That's it, isn't it? I mean, you don't even have to try the last one. It won't work. It's got to be this one. Is that clear? Okay, so. All right, so then what's my answer, guys? The given trinomial factors into a 5x plus 2 times a what? X plus 3. So if you FOIL this, wouldn't you get that trinomial? Got it? Yes.
Okay, wait, so if, does it have to, does it have to have like both two x's for it to equal the same thing if you switch them? You know?
Like, well, put it this way.
Like,
If I switch them in my answer, that would be the same thing.
like,
But that's not what you're asking.
no, like if it wasn't a 5x and it was just an x, does it, no.
Well, again, the 5x squared is how I knew it was a 5x and an x.
Yeah, I know, but if it like wasn't,
So if it was just an x squared, you'd use an x and an x, like we did in the first example, right?
yeah, but,
And then you'll check what it is down here. I don't think you need to worry about a different scenario. Once you check it, you'll know which one works. Okay? All right, now, somebody needs to read this. Mike, can you read this? Mike P. Real important. Real loud.
You should start to notice the following about the signs in your factors. When foiling, the signs multiply to give the sign on C. And the signs add to give the sign on B.
Okay, so here's what I want you to do from now on. When I give you any trinomial to factor, the first thing I want you to do is figure out what the signs are going to be. That way you don't have to try so many different choices. Always start here, always. Watch this, guys. Please look up here. Always start here. Always. Okay, so what I do is I start by looking at sign first. When you FOIL, the signs on your factors always multiply to give you that sign. So what's the only way two numbers are going to multiply to a positive if they're both what? Positive or both negative. Are you with me on that? Yes? However, after that, when you later on in the FOILing method, those same two signs have to add to a positive. So again, you already said because of this that it's a what? Either a plus and a plus or a minus and a minus, right? Well, if those same two numbers have to later add to give you a positive here, then it has to be a what? A plus and a what? Plus and a plus. Are you with me? Do it again on this one. Start here. Whatever these two signs are, they have to multiply to a positive. So it's either a plus and a plus or a minus and a minus. Everybody agree? But then later on, they have to add to this. So instead of a plus and a plus, it's got to be the what? The minus and the minus. Is that clear? All right, let's do another one. Let's start here. What's the only way two numbers will multiply negative? What's the only way two numbers will multiply to a negative? a plus and a minus, right? And again, so it's either that or it's that. I don't know what order they go in, but I know I need one of each in my factors. Is that clear? So that doesn't even matter there, does it? No. All right, same thing here. Start here. What's the only way two numbers will multiply to a negative? With what? Plus and a minus. So it's either that or that. Again, I don't know which one goes where, but I know I need one of each. Is that clear? Okay. So let's see if you learned anything. This is a quick test. All I want you to do is tell me what the signs are. I don't want any numbers or X's in there. I just want you to tell me what the signs are. Is it plus plus? Is it minus minus? Or is it one of each? So you should all be starting there first. Always start there to figure out what the signs are. Go. Fill it in. Talk about it in your groups. Don't get too far ahead. All I want is the signs. Yep. No, I don't want numbers, just signs. Just the signs. We'll do that later. I just want to quickly figure out what the signs will be, okay? All I want is the signs. I don't want any X's. I don't want any numbers. That's right. That's right. Two negatives.
Just be a negative.
Always start here. Write the word mult, M-U-L-T. Okay, what's the only way two numbers will multiply to a positive? Either both plus or both minus. But then later they have to what? Add. Write the word add there. So if they have to later add to a negative, it's got to be what? Minus minus, right? Does that make sense? Sorry. Check E. Check A. Yeah, you guys, don't they have to multiply to a positive? Positive and negative don't multiply to a positive. So always start there. They have to multiply to a positive. There's a positive and a negative multiply to a positive?
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, if that's the case, later they would add to a positive, but they don't. It's either that or that, isn't it? When they multiply to a positive?
Yeah.
But if they had to add to a negative,
Yep. Plus and a negative.
it's got to be two negatives. The sign's got to multiply to this one. So it's the only way two numbers to multiply to a positive. Both positive or both negative, right? With me? And then later they have to add to a negative. So doesn't it have to be this one? Doesn't it have to be minus and a minus? Isn't that the only way two numbers can multiply to a positive and add to a negative, as if they're both negatives? Yes? Got it? Okay. All right, looks like everybody has an answer. We'll see what's right. Guys, shh. That's the first thing I want you to do. Shh. What's the only way two numbers will multiply to a positive? Everybody. As if they're both positive or both negative. But then later in the FOIL process, they're going to have to add to a negative. And so that's got to be a what? Negative, negative. We already said it's either plus, plus or minus, minus. It's got to be minus, minus. Okay, now. Okay, let's look at the next one. What's the only way two numbers will multiply into a positive? If they're both positive or both negative. But then later they have to add to a positive. So it's got to be what? Positive, positive. Is that clear? Let's do this one. What's the only way two numbers will multiply to a negative? A plus and a minus. Now I don't know which one goes where. So it could be either that or that. Agreed? But the bottom line is you have to have one of each, a positive and negative. I don't know what order they go in. I don't know what order they go in, but I have to have one of each. Is that clear? All right, next one. What's the only way two numbers can multiply to a negative? A plus and a minus. And again, I don't know which one goes where, so it's either that or it's that. One or the other. Yes? Okay, so get this one. What's the only way two numbers can multiply to a positive? Both plus or both negative. But then later they have to add to a negative. So then doesn't it have to be the minus minus one? Everybody with me? Yes? Okay, one more. What's the only way two numbers can multiply to a negative? A what? A plus and a minus. And again, I don't know which one goes first, but the bottom line is you have to have one of each. So that's what you do first. Figure out what the signs are. Because that'll cut the things you have to try way down. Yes? Okay. All right, so let's take all this together. Are you ready? All right, step 1 in example 3. I want to factor this trinomial. I want everybody to do step 1. Figure out what the signs are going to be. Don't go any further than that. Do step 1. All right, guys. So the first thing you do is look at that and say whatever your signs are, they have to multiply to that, right? So what's it got to be, guys? A plus and a minus. Now, I don't know what order they go in, so it could be that instead. But the bottom line is you need one of each. Everybody agree? Man, that's a huge delay. Okay. No, I need the recording, otherwise it won't show up in the recording.
Try turning it off.
No, then it'll start all over again. I can't. You can't pause it. You can't pause the recording. Okay. All right. So does everybody understand the first step? Always on these factoring. Okay. Next thing, Jessica, you can help me. Where's the 3x squared going to come from? What should I put in here to take care of the 3x squared?
3x and 1.
Yeah, 3x in the first spot there, and then a 1x or just an x in the first spot over there in that binomial. Everybody with us? Okay, next thing. Adi, where's a minus 5 going to come from? At the end, I need what and what here? What's one possibility? Remember, they got to multiply to a negative 5, so it's a what? A plus 1 and a what? Minus 5. Or I could switch them, couldn't I? Okay, what's another possibility? How about a minus 1? I haven't done that one. Minus 1, and the other one would have to be a what? Plus 5. Or I could switch them. But agree that those are your 4 possibilities for the last terms in your binomials? Yes? Okay, now I got to put all this together to see which combination gives us what we want. You understand that that's the last step? Heads up, please. Leah, you don't want to miss this. Keep your head up, 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 up. Okay. All right, so are you ready? All right, so here's what you're going to do. Put the 3x in the x, the 3x in the x. Those are never going to change. The 3x and the x, and the 3x and the x. Okay, so here we go. Ready? Ready or not? Yeah, question. Again, eventually I'll show you a way you don't have to show all this work, but we're still learning the whole process. Eventually you're not going to have to write all this down. All right, so just stay with me for a couple more minutes and I'll show you a shorter way. Okay, are you ready? Okay, so the first thing I'm going to try is this, yes? Okay, so if I put in a plus 1 and a minus 5, and then I multiply the inners and the outers, what do I get? Well, let's see here. What do I get? Well, when I multiply these inners, I get what? A plus 1x. When I multiply these outers, I get a minus 15x, don't I? And when I add those together, what do those add up to? A minus 14x. Is that what I want for the middle term? No. What am I trying to get for the middle term, guys? I'm trying to get a minus 2x for my middle term, aren't I? Aren't I trying to get a minus 2x for my middle term here? Yes? Okay, so again, I made another note down here. Trying to get a minus 2x. Okay, so that's not it, is it? Because that produced the middle term of a minus 14x, didn't it? All right, so what am I going to try next, guys? So that didn't work. Now I'm going to switch them and put the what? Yeah, -5 first and the +1 second. All right, so what do I get now when I multiply the insides? I get a -5x here. The outsides give me a what? +3x, and what do those add up to, guys? Those add up to a -2x. Is that what I want for the middle term? Yes, that's it. I don't even have to try anything else. Once you find your answer, that's it. There's only one right answer here. Okay, so write it down, guys. So your final answer is what? 3x minus 5 times the binomial, what? X plus 1. By the way, would it be the same thing if I wrote this? Is that the same thing, yes or no? Yes, it is. As long as I have an x plus 1 and a 3x minus 5, the order really does not matter. Either one is the same thing. Yes? All right, are you ready to try one?
No.
You ready to try one on your own?
No.
Yeah, you are. All right, well, maybe not. How about I do one more, then I'll let you try one. All right, one more. Now, I know that's a lot of work, so I'm going to show you a better way. All right, so, Brendan, can you read this real quick for me? Right here. Read the directions.
Factor the trinomial 5x squared minus 18x minus 8 using the erasing method.
Okay, so the erasing method you're going to like better because you don't have to write everything down. Are you ready? Are you ready? Watch. Okay, here's what I want you to do. The first thing is what? Figure out what the what? Signs will be. So you always start here. What's the only way two numbers will multiply to a minus? Is with what?
Double negative.
No. The only way two numbers multiply to a negative is if you have a positive and negative. So it's either that or that. I don't know what order they go in, but you need one of each. Is that clear? Okay. Now, the next thing is to think about where the 5x squared comes from. Where's the 5x squared going to come from? A 5x and a what? X. And then where's an 8 going to come from? A 1 and an 8 and a 2 and a 4. Notice I don't worry about the signs anymore because I already took care of the signs. So I'm only going to look at the number 8. Are you following me? All right, then here's what I want you to do. I want you to have 3 things out when you're factoring tonight. I want you to have a pencil. I want you to have a huge eraser. And I want you to have a pen of some kind. I want you to have 3 things out when you are factoring, and I'll explain why. You need a pencil, an eraser, and a pen or marker, something permanent. Is that clear? All right, so here's what I want you to do now. Once you get to this step, okay, I want you to put the 5x and the x here in permanent ink. Those will not change. So put your 5x squared and your x in ink. Those will not change. Can somebody get the door? Can you close the door for me, Steve? All right, and then I want you to draw this in ink as well. Ink and ink. Is that clear? And by the way, you can put the parentheses in ink as well. So everything you see there will be in ink. Is that clear? And now the rest of it's going to be in pencil. And then you're going to erase when you find something that doesn't work. Are you ready? Okay, so what am I going to try first? The 1 and the what? And the 8. So put a 1 there in pencil, put an 8 there in pencil, and then I want you to multiply the insides. What do you get when you multiply the insides? A 1x. And then I want you to multiply the outsides. What do you get? What's a 5x times an 8? 40x. All right, now you're either going to add or subtract those together to get the middle term. Now, again, if you add them, you would get what? 41x? Do I want a 41x in the middle? No, I'm looking for a middle term of what? I'm looking for a middle term of 18x, isn't it? Yes? More specifically, a minus 18. But definitely I need an 18, yes? All right, now. So if I add them, I'm going to get a 41x. What if I subtract them? I'm going to get a what? 39x. Do I want either of those? No. So everybody agree that this doesn't work. All right, so I want you to erase everything that was in pencil there. Okay, I put the 1 first and the 8 second. Now I'm going to switch them. I'm going to put the 8 now and the 1. So let's switch them. What do I get now? 8x in the middle. And what about the outers of 5x? All right, now you're going to add or subtract those to try and get the middle term. If I add them, what are they going to give me? 13x. Do I want a 13x in the middle term? No. What if I subtract them? I'm going to get a what? 3x. Do I want a 3x in the middle term? No. Okay, so the 1 and the 8 don't work. Now I'm going to try the what? Now I'm going to try the what? The 2 and the 4. Okay, let's try the 2 first and the 4 there. All right, what do I get here when I multiply the 2 and the x? 2x. What do I get when I multiply the 5x times the 4 on the outside? What do I get? 20x. If I add those, I'm going to get a 22x. Do I want a 22x? No. If I subtract them, I'm going to get a what? 18x. That's going to work, isn't it? Are you with me? However, I need a minus 18x. So doesn't this have to be a minus and that to be a plus for those to add up to a minus 18x? All right. And now wait a minute. What's the only way that's going to be a plus 2x if I put a what here? No, what's the only way that these two are going to give you a plus 2x? With a plus there. Agreed? I need to put a plus there. What's the only way I'm going to get a minus 20x here? A minus over here, right? Because a 5x times a minus 4 would give you the minus 20x you need. And by the way, is that even a possibility to have a plus and a minus? Is it? Yeah, and then I say that at the beginning you needed a plus and a minus. So I know I got it right. Everything checks out, doesn't it? All right, so that's your answer. What's your answer?
Negative 20, 18x.
No, what's your answer though? 5x plus 2 times what?
X minus 4.
X minus 4. Doesn't matter what order they go in. In other words, could I have x minus 4 first and then the 5x plus 2 second? Would that be the same thing? Yeah. Yes, it would. So either one would work. Do you like this method better? Okay, so try one. Try it. I'm stepping you through it, so just fill it in. Stepping you through it. Factoring is the most important thing you learn in second semester, maybe the whole year. Okay, try it. Try it, try it, try it. No, you're way ahead. First, fill in the signs. I don't want to see X's or numbers in the first term or the first step. I just want to see the signs. What are the signs? You sure it's a plus and a minus? Don't they have to circle that? Start and put the word multiplication above it. What's the only way two things will multiply to a positive? Either both plus or both minus. But then you look at that next. Okay, you know it's either plus plus or a minus minus. Later they have to add to a minus. So write the word add above that. Okay, so it's got to be a what then?
Plus. Oh wait, no,
minus minus, right? Got it? Okay, so again, the signs. When I give you trinomial, I want you to write the word multiplication there and start there. What's the only way two things can multiply to a plus? Minus minus or a plus plus. Agreed? But then later they have to add to a minus. So what's the only way that they got to both be what then? Minus. Because when you multiply two negatives, you get a positive. When you add two negatives, you get another negative. Got it? So it's either this or this. And once you decided that, then you look at that and say, okay. Okay, do you understand these two signs? Okay, now your next step is, where does the 3x squared come from? 3x times an x, okay? Where's the 4 going to come from? Start with the number 1. 1 times a 4, or a 2 times a 2. So that's why I put a 3x and an x there permanently, right? And then you got to try a 1 and a 4, and if that doesn't work, switch them. Then if that doesn't work, try the 2 and the 2. Got it? Okay, hold on. You got to write your options first. So 4 is going to come from a what? A 1 times a 4, or it could be a what? A 2 times a 2. So that, and do it down here. Okay? Got it? Okay, good, good. Okay, you don't want a 2 and a 4. 2 times a 4 would give you 8. So it's either a what? A 1 times a 4 or a what? 2 times a what? 2.
2.
Got it? Okay, so try a 1 and a 4. Okay. Okay, so try one of them. You can try a 2 and a 2 or a 1 and a 4. And by the way, if the 1 and the 4 don't work, you got to switch them and try the 4 and then the 1. Okay, so try them all until you get a middle term of a minus 8x.
Mr. Chapter, someone has figured out an easier way to do all this by now.
There's easier ways, but the other ways are just tricks that don't really tell you. They don't really tell you what you're doing. So I'd rather do it this way. Nice job.
Zach, you just got
Oh, I
my
still have to
answer.
write 3x minus 2p.
You don't want to put a plus plus. You know it's going to be a minus minus, right? Okay, Steve. Which one are you on? Okay. All right. Where's the 3x squared come from? Write it down. A 3x and a what?
X.
Yep, so 3x and x. Okay. Which is why I did that, right? Now, write down where's the 4 going to come from. Just write it here. A 1 times a what?
Here?
Yeah. A 1 times a 4. Right? Write 1 times 4. Or else a what? 2 times 2. All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to try the 1 and the 4 there and there. If that doesn't work, switch them. If that doesn't work, try the 2 and the 2.
I go to the bathroom. I already finished.
Yeah, that's what basically you're doing. Okay. First of all, 4 can come from a 2 and a 2 or a 1 and a 4, right?
Yeah.
So this and this better be a 2 and a 2 or a 1 and a 4. I don't know how you got a 3 there.
Oh, that makes
These are your only possibilities for these, so check what you did, okay? Okay.
I'm one of the best students in resource room at Manchester.
Good. So you're saying you're another resource in the resource room.
Well, I have a couple of friends who got great things.
Joe, is Joe one of them?
Crazy.
Okay. Yep, good. All right, you guys are getting there. Shh. Let's see if you got it right. Everybody look up here. Shh. Everybody look up here. Shh. Okay, this is the first thing I want to see on everybody's paper, always. The signs. They have to multiply to that, and then later they have to add to that. So start with this. What's the only way two numbers will multiply to a positive? With a plus and a plus, or a what? Minus, minus. But then later they have to add to a what? Minus. So doesn't it have to be that? A minus, minus? Everybody agree? It's got to be a minus, minus? Yes or no? Okay. Next thing I want to see on everybody's paper is this. Shh. Where's the 3x squared going to come from? That's 3x and a what? Okay. Where's the 4 going to come from? Always start with the number 1. A 1 times a what? 4 or a what? 2 times a 2. Everybody agree? All right, so once you figure the 3x and the x, put those in there permanently like I did. So draw all of this with your pen. All of it, including these. Okay, draw all this in pen. Now, I want to do the trial and error with pencil now. Ready? So I'm going to start with the 1 and the 4. So if I put a 1 there and a 4 there and do the O and the I in the FOIL method, what do I get? Let's see, I get a 1x here. I get a 12x there. And if I were adding or subtracting those, I'd either get a what for the middle term? A 13x or a... If I add or subtract those, what are my possibilities? 13x or 11x. Do I want either of those? What am I shooting for? I'm shooting for an 8x. So that doesn't work. So switch them. Now you got to switch them. Put the 4 and the 1. Okay, what do I get here? 4x and a what? On the outsides, I get a 3x. If I were adding those, I'd get a middle term of what? 7x. Is that what I want? No. If I subtracted them, what would I get for the middle term? A 1x. Do I want that? No. All right, so I tried the 4 and the 1. Both ways it didn't work. What do I got to try now? What do I got to try now? What haven't I tried? The 2 and the 2. Let's see what that gives me. When I multiply these, don't I get a 2x? When I multiply the outers, don't I get a 6x? Is there any way those will add or subtract into an 8x? Yes or no? Yes. And they'll give me a minus 8x only if they're both what? Minus. Is this what I want? And what's the only way that's going to be a minus 2x? If I put a minus there, yes? And what's the only way that 6x is going to be a minus? If I put a what here? A what? Minus. By the way, at the beginning, did I say I have to have a minus minus in my answer? Yeah, this is how I know it's all right with no mistakes. Is that clear? Yeah. All right, and so there you go. So if you foiled that binomial times that binomial, you'd get right back to here, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you get right back where you started? All right, so that's the final answer, guys. Write it down. 3x minus 2 times a what? X minus 2. All right, good. Okay, now, 2 more examples. There was eraser stuff. Okay. What's different about this example? It says, instead of just factoring, yeah, it says solve and there's an equal sign. Very good. Which means after we factor, we got a little bit more work to do. That's all that means. Got it? No big deal. You'll see. It's easy. All right, so, Steve, can you read the directions? Read my hint, I should say.
First move everything to one side, then factor, and then use the zero product property to solve.
Okay, so there's a couple ways. I can either move this and this to the right side, or I can move that to the left side. What's easier? Move the 10 to the left. Okay, let's do that. And how do I do that? Do what to both sides of the equation? Add 10. Everybody agree? And make sure you write the left side in standard form, guys. There it is. All right. Any questions so far? All right. Well, I got a trinomial. It'd be great if I could factor, because if I can factor, I can use the zero product property to finish solving, right? And because that's a trinomial, if it factors, it's going to be a binomial times a binomial. Everybody agree? All right. Chantal, where's the x squared going to come from? Well, first of all, what are the signs going to be? Let's start there. Signs have to what again? Multiply to a what? Multiply to a positive, so it's either a plus and a plus or a what? Minus and a what? Minus. But then later they have to add to a minus. So what are the signs then? It's got to be a minus minus. Everybody agree? Yes? All right, let me ask you this. Where's x squared come from? Yeah, an x in the first spot there and an x in the first spot there. Everybody agree? And by the way, since they're both x and they're both minuses, can I put them all in together right now if I want? All right, but I'll do that later, okay? By the way, don't lose this. It's all still there. All right, now what? Well, where's a 10 going to come from, guys? Where's the 10 come from? Start with the number 1. A 1 times 10. Go to number 2 next. 2 times 5. Anything else you can think of? Yeah, but that's the same thing. I'll switch them later. Okay? Are we good? All right, so what do you want to try first? This part you're doing in pencil. This part you're doing in pencil, guys, after I make this pen and a pen. Okay. All right, so what am I going to try first, guys? The what? The 1 and the what? 10? All right, so what does that give me here? 1x and a what? 10x. And when I add those, I'm either going to get an 11x or a what? Or if I subtract them, I get a what? A what? a 9. Do you agree when I add or subtract them, either you need an 11x or a 9x? Do I want either of those? No. What am I looking for? A what? What? A 7. Is that clear? Yes? All right, so do you agree that 1 and the 10 aren't going to work? By the way, if I switch them, isn't that going to give me the same thing? Isn't it? Okay, so I don't want the 1 and the 10. That's not going to work. What do I got to try now? The 2 and the 5. Let's try that. All right, when I multiply the insides, I get a 2x. When I multiply the outsides, I get a 5x. And was there any way to get a middle term of a 7x out of there? Yes. Specifically, I want a minus 7x. So don't they both have to be minus to add up to a minus 7x? And the only way that's going to be a minus is if I put a minus there. Right? And the only way that's going to be a minus is if I put a minus over here. Yes? Okay? And so, by the way, didn't I say a minute ago that I wanted a minus minus? Didn't I say that a minute ago? So is this right or not? Yes, it is. Now, so where am I at then? This is where I'm at. Once you get down to here, this should look like what you did earlier in the chapter where you got to solve an equation that has a product equaling 0. Can't you use the zero product property? Didn't we say anytime a product is 0, that product will be 0 when this factor is 0 or when this other factor is 0? Yes? All right, so this is one you can do in your head. What are my solutions? X equals what and x equals what? What are my solutions? What's the only way this is going to be 0, making the whole product 0? When x is what? No, 0 is not going to do it. If I put a 0 there and a 0 there and multiply, I'm not going to get a 0. What's the only way this is going to be 0? If x equals what? 2. What's the only way this is going to be 0? When x is 5. All right, so notice. When it says solve, you better give me x equals as your answer. So just peek ahead to the homework for a minute. I want to show you something, guys.
Mark, can we just skip this last page?
No. No. We're going to do it together. Don't worry. Don't panic. You guys, look at tonight's homework. What is this? 7.77 and 7a. Okay. So look in the homework tonight. What did this say here? It says what? What did the directions say here? Factor. What about for this group? 10 through 15, you're going to what? Factor. How about 16 through 18? You're going to solve by first factoring. Is that clear? So you make sure you factor and stop on the ones that say factor. Make sure you keep going and solve the ones that say solve. So 16, 17, 18 are like the last example I just did. Is that clear? Zach, head up for me, okay? You understanding that? All right, so last page and we're done. So I don't know why it's doing that. All right. Okay, Adi, can you read the directions? Shh. Shh. Guys.
A farmer plants a rectangular pumpkin patch in the northeast corner of the square plot of land, as shown in the figure below. The area of the pumpkin patch is 600 square meters.
Okay, so I showed you a picture here. This is the pumpkin patch right here. Okay, that's a pumpkin patch. And I want everybody to write something down for A and B. And again, as IB learners, you guys better be risk takers. In other words, don't sit there and wait for me to show you. Everybody take a risk and write down what you think the answer is to A and B. Whether it's right or wrong, doesn't matter for right now. You still want to take a risk and see what you can get. By waiting for me, you're not taking a risk. So I want everybody to take a risk and write down what you think it is. Just do A and B and then stop. Do A and B. Take a risk. I know you already did it. Write something down for A and B. Good. show me what dimension is x plus 30. Point to it. All of this is x plus 30? That can't be right. It's x all the way from top to bottom, so that can't be right. Talk about it in your groups. I want everybody to have something written down for A and B. What about A? You didn't write anything for A. Yeah. Nice. Nice job. Good. Okay, but you don't know all the dimensions. There's no way you can give me a number. Your answer should have x in it somewhere, right? Okay, figure it out. Keep going. Don't give up. Hey, shh. That's not right. Keep working. That's not right.
You said write something.
B is right. A is not right. B is right.
Chantel's right.
Whoa. I didn't do anything. I don't know what that was. It's probably from me yelling at you. I don't know. No, just do A and B. We'll talk about those first. Okay, ready, guys? Here we go. Shh, 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 shh. Watch. Ready? Okay, Scott, ready? All right, I want to write an expression for the entire square. And I saw some of you working with the 30 and the 40. You can't work with the 30 because you don't know what this is. So don't go looking at this side. And you don't want to work with the 40 because you don't know what this is. So don't work with that side. Why don't we just work with this side and this side, since we know those? Do you agree I know this side is x? Do you agree? And do you agree I know this bottom side is x as well? And so isn't that how you find the area of a rectangle or square? You multiply the length times the width? So isn't it just x times x, which is x squared? Agreed? Zach, please. Shh. Yes or no? I know. Zach marks. Okay. Shh. All right. Watch. Now, I want to write an expression for just the pumpkin patch. Well, here's the pumpkin patch up here in the corner. Obviously, I need the length and the width for that in order to find the area. Now, so the question is, what is it from here to here? What is it from there to there? Well, what is it from here to here? Well, it's x from top to bottom, isn't it? And then it's 30 from here to here, isn't it? So if you take the whole length, which is x, and you subtract this, which is 30, won't it give me what I want, which is this? Does everybody agree that that's x minus 30 there? Okay. Now what about this here? Right here. Or here. What is that? Isn't that x minus 40? Isn't it? Because it's x all the way across. Isn't it? And then you're subtracting the 40 up here. And that'll give you what you want, which is left over here, which is x minus 40. Is that clear? All right. And so what's the area of the pumpkin patch only then? X minus 40 times what? X minus what? 30. Very good. All right. Now, at this point, I want to write and solve an equation, find the value of x. Well, the only way we're going to be able to find the value of x is if you use this 600. So how am I going to use that 600? How am I going to use that 600? What is that? The 600 is what? Only the what? Only the pumpkin patch. Did you agree that 600 is only the pumpkin patch? Okay, so if that's the pumpkin patch, then I'm going to take the expression I just found for the pumpkin patch, which, by the way, what do I get when I FOIL that? Let me FOIL it to make it nicer to work with. X squared, then what? Yeah, first, outer, inner, and then what? Last gives me a what? Plus 1200, is that right? Which, by the way, combines into x squared minus 70x plus 1200. Everybody agree with that? Yes? Yeah. Okay, so that's another way I can write the area of the pumpkin patch. So that can be set equal to what? I can take that and set it equal to what? 600. Any questions so far? Any questions so far? So I took the answer to B, which is the area of the pumpkin patch, and I set it equal to the 600, since it says the area has to be 600 for the pumpkin patch. Now the question is, how do I solve this for x? What should I do first? Move everything where? To one side? Where's the easiest place to move it? Everything to the left or everything to the right? You mean left? You mean left. And how do I do that? How do I move everything to the left side? By what? Thank you. All right, now watch. I end up with this. All right, so now if I could factor, I'll be in business, because then I can use a zero product property and finish it in like 2 seconds, right? So once I factor, I'll be all set, right? To finish solving for x. All right, so you tell me, where's that x squared going to come from? Quick. X and a what? X. By the way, what are the signs going to be? If they have to multiply to a positive but then add to a negative. Negative, negative, okay? And by the way, since I got an X and a minus and a minus, I might as well put them in now. Everybody agree? Might as well. Okay? All right, now the hard part. Where is 600 going to come from? Now there's a million possibilities, isn't there? Yeah. Start with the number 1. 1 times 600, go to the number 2. 2 times 300, go to the number 3. 3 times 200, go to number 4. 4 times 150, go to number 5. 5 times, is it 5 times 120? How about 6? 6 times 100. Does 7 go into 600? No. How about 8? Yes. Goes in there how many times? No. 75. Good. Does 9 go into 600? No. How about 10? 10 times 60. How about 11? No. How about 12? Yes. 12 times 50. How about 13? No. How about 14? 15. Yeah, 15 goes in there how many times? 40? How about 20? 20 goes in there how many times? 30. All right, well, there might be more, but let's see if any of these work. Now, the good news is, when you put them in, you're going to multiply each of them by only what? X. So it makes it actually pretty easy, doesn't it? You can kind of do it in your head. Which one of these combinations, when I put it there, multiply by x, put it there, multiply by x, add up to a minus 70? This is one you can probably do in your head. If you think about all those combinations, which one?
Ooh, 10 times 60. 60 is 10.
Yeah, 10 and 60. Everybody agree that that's it? Because these give you a what? A minus 10x. The outsides give you minus 60x, which sure enough add up to a minus 70, don't they? All right, so that works. So then what are your solutions then? X could be what then? 10 or 60. Everybody agree that if you have that product equaling 0, that product will be 0 when x is either 10 or 60? All right, now wait. Which one do I use? Or are they both right? Well, I don't know if they're both right. Let's look at the picture. Is 10 a possibility for x if you know it's 30 from here to here? No way. If it's 30 from here to here, can it be 10 from top to bottom? Can it? No. So 10's impossible. Is 60 a reasonable answer? If this is 30, can this possibly be 60? Sure, that's reasonable, isn't it? So that's got to be my answer. So x is 60. All right, so let's fill everything in. Let's fill everything in now. Ready? Because it says find the area of the portion that does not include the what? Pumpkin patch. So does everybody agree this yellow area is the part we want to talk about for part D? That's the area without the pumpkin patch, this yellow area. And so everybody agree that that yellow area is all the land without the pumpkin patch? Okay, so here we go. All right, real quick. What did we just say x is? 60. So I can put the 60 there. I can put the 60 here. What's this? What's this? Come on. What is it? 30. What is it from here to here? Be careful. What did we say earlier? What did we say it is from here to here? X minus 40. Well, if x is 60, what's 60 minus 40? 20. Okay? Now, what did we say it was from here to here before? Well, we said it was what? X minus 30. So if it's x 30, you now know x is 60. What's 60 minus 30? 30. And then what is this here? What is this here? It's 40. Wasn't that given to be 40? Okay. All right, so how do I find that area now? Well, can I take the whole area and subtract the corner area? Can I? And that'll give me the yellow area. Okay, and so real quick, what is this? 60 by 60? What is the little one? 20 by 30. So what is it? What's 60 times 60? 3,600 minus, what's 30 times 20? 600. So what's the area? What's the big area minus the corner area? 3,000 square what? No, meters. Everybody see what I did there? Almost done. Wow, we're still going to have 15 minutes left. I can't believe it. Okay, last one. Any questions? I know I'm going kind of fast, but I think you should see it by now. Are we okay? Yeah. All right, let's look at E. If the farmer is going to fence in the portion of the land does not include the pumpkin patch, how many meters of fencing will he need? So instead of talking about area, this deals with what? Not area, but what? Perimeter. So don't I need the perimeter of all the fence to answer this question? All right, so what's the perimeter? Quick. 60 plus what? I need 60 plus 60 plus 30 plus, what's this? 20 plus what? 30 and plus what? 40. So if you add all that up, that'll be how many meters of fence he needs. So what does all that add up to? Let's see. 120, 150, 170, 200, 240 meters of fence. He's going to need 240 meters of fence to make that. Is that clear, guys? That was fun, wasn't it? All right, take till 12:30, then I want you working. I want to see if you can do some of these on your own while I'm still here. Okay, breaks till 12:30, and I want to see those books open and quickly try a couple problems at 12:30. You mean, like you can borrow a pen from me or somebody.